Hello everyone, this is Zeta Zan coming at you with another video. And in this video I wanted to share with you some interesting news about space and how we as America can take on the challenge of exploring space and becoming once again pilgrims out into the voyage and actually find resources and wealth in outer space. So what I have in front of me right now is one of my favorite podcasters that are out there right now. I've been watching Tim Pool for a long time, and Tim used to have this guest called Adam, and he used to be on the show on a regular basis. And he started his own website and YouTube where he does a podcast every night around 6:30. And I just wanted to show you a couple of the videos that he had a while back. One of these videos was on space elevators and wireless solar array. And he had a couple of guests, Peter Garrettson and Michael Lane from Liftport. They had a really interesting talk about how in the future America could set up a moon base and have space elevators that would make the price of going into outer space a lot more affordable, to the point where your average person can actually go out into outer space. And so one of these pictures right here, they talk about the different orbits. So a lot of outer space adventures that we've been doing over the past few decades now have been in a low Earth orbit, and that's nothing more than a few miles outside of the atmosphere of space. Our next step is returning back to space via the Artemis program under NASA. I believe in 2024 they want to land a female astronaut on the moon and eventually set up a lunar base where that would be a permanent colony on the moon. So in this YouTube, they talk about it. I'm not going to show you the whole YouTube. It's over 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours long. So I'll provide a link down below in the description. You can watch that, or you can go to Adamcast IRL and subscribe. I think he has a great program, and he put on several series of these programs. We had several people in the space program talk about what we could actually accomplish. So Michael Lane is from Liftport, and his group is dedicated to building a space elevator. They're focused on a lunar elevator, talking about concepts. If you had an elevator that spanned from the surface of the moon to a certain orbit in the moon, you could reduce the cost of actually sending materials to and from the moon. And the same idea and concept could be used for a space elevator going from the surface of Earth to outer space. We could actually just take elevator going all the way out into outer space. In the series of talks, though, Michael was speaking. We don't have the material physical knowledge right now to produce the materials necessary for an Earth elevator, but we do have the materials knowledge to create a lunar elevator. So we could reduce dramatically the cost of shipping materials to the moon by doing this. One of the problems with the Apollo program is the capsule that they sent would go into orbit around the moon, and they would have to send a landing device to actually land onto the moon, and then use that device to get back up to that orbit, and then use that vehicle to get back to Earth. If you could create a lunar elevator, you could eliminate this landing stage device and save on a lot of money and actually transport large amounts of material to and from the moon. And it can also serve as a way station in a way to go from the moon to the outer regions of outer space. So he also has another talk, and it has several guests. Let me see if I can find one of the talks. This is another almost 2 hour, 1.5 hour long conversation. But this is where he has Michael Lane, Sean McLean, Josh Carlson, and Namrata and they talk about the future of space. And in between that, oh, sorry, in between that, Michael Lane with Liftport Group had another separate conversation about the future of space. And in this conversation, they were talking about the differences between a Navy concept of brown water versus blue water. So in the Navy, you have your brown water forces, which are the naval units that engage in anything that's really close to the shore. So you, like your Marines, your Navy SEALs, anyone that's dealing within, that border of 1 to 50 miles from the shoreline. And then you have your blue water Navy that is actually projecting strategic force out all throughout the world, like your aircraft carriers and your battleships. And so this concept is being taken into outer space. Your brown Navy would be low Earth orbit, maybe going all the way out to the moon, and then your uh, deep water would be anything that goes from the moon outwards, whether that's the asteroid belt, Mars, Jupiter, Venus. So these different concepts, you have to come up with different strategies. Your strategy for your brown water Navy will be totally different than your blue water Navy. So they have an interesting conversation, and I'll provide a link to the Liftport group, which is Michael's YouTube, where he produces different videos as well. And if you look on his YouTube channel, he has a lot of great videos about, um, the Artemis program and different strategies that the White House is actually doing. Um, right after that, Adam had another conversation with all of the attendees at this meeting from Liftport Group, and they had another further discussion of that strategy concept of, going between brown water and blue water. And I just wanted to share these videos. All in total, it probably is like 6 hours worth of conversation. But it's such an interesting conversation as we have this program coming from NASA. Um, why would we want to go out into outer space like this? There's so many problems here on Earth. Why on earth would we want to go out of Earth to look and look for different things? Something that I think about is the material value of going into outer space. When you think about it, there's infinite amounts of energy, there's infinite amounts of material, and there's infinite amounts of space. We're on a planet with 7 billion people. We have energy concerns, we have material concerns. I used to be in appliance repair and appliance installation, and copper is a huge problem here in the world right now. Copper is actually getting really expensive, and it's used in so many industrial ways, either plumbing or electricity as a conductor. It's used in different manufacturing, but we're running out of copper in the world. So if we could mine copper in the outer systems of the space, then we would have that copper for our industrial way of living here on Earth. The same thing goes with rare earth metals. Everyone talks about windmills and solar panels and electric cars and batteries. All that requires rare earth metals. So this is a little video that I want to share. It's from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory of NASA. I'm just going to let this go for about a minute and we'll watch it together. So from January 1st, 1999 to January 31st of 2018, blue represents near-Earth asteroids, orange represents main belt. So all these little dots are asteroids that are circling that we have found over the past couple of decades. And as you can see, over time we're finding more and more asteroids. There's literally hundreds of thousands of asteroids that are circling. And this is the final result. In 2018, there's hundreds of thousands of asteroids that are out within our local solar system. And each one of these asteroids is worth literally trillions and trillions of dollars. So when we talk, about the national debt, it's over $23 trillion and rising. If you grabbed, one or two or three of these actual asteroids and mined the resources, brought them back to Earth and sold that resource, it could provide, taxes for us as a society to actually live off of, and we could repay our debt. We could live, a higher uh, standard of living because of this. So NASA came together and created this concept of what would an asteroid capture mission look like, and that you can all have this information on down below. So the concept they came up with is they could send well, there's a video, let me find it. They could actually send a probe to an asteroid, and it would put out a huge balloon, and this balloon would cover up the asteroid and grab it. And then with this probe, they could use jets to actually transport it to a orbit around the moon, and then they could dock with that asteroid, and they could do some science on it. And eventually, this concept could be used to actually mine the asteroid. So there's like a couple of minute video. I don't have it available right now, but you can go to this website, and I'll provide a link down below. So, what is the concept of this? Something also that's really important is if we're going out into outer space, we can't take all the materials that we need. We're going to have to find the materials and build stuff on the moon. And one of the hardest parts of that is finding water. So, in 2009, the Indian Space Research Organization detected water on the moon. And this is the south pole of the moon. So let's watch this video. All these blue spots, they determine that there's a signature of water down there. So this area stays cool all the time. If we were to set up a lunar base somewhere around this area, we could actually mine this water, this ice. And out of that, we could create, the ability to create rocket fuel on the moon. So we could create the necessary fuel to actually go out and go anywhere in the solar system. CNBC had this really interesting article, and I thought this was an interesting statistic. Minerals that lie in the belt of asteroids between Mars and Jupiter hold minerals wealth equivalent to about 100 billion for every individual on Earth. So think about that. There's 7 billion people on Earth. Every single one of us could get over $100 billion worth of material out of the asteroid belt. And there's a number of different organizations that are working on this. One that I'm really interested in is Elon Musk's SpaceX. So he's creating this starship, and this is the prototype right here. And this starship, just like his other ones, will be able to go out into outer space, go into orbit, travel far away to, I'm not sure how the range is, but they'll be able to go all the way to the moon and back, and then actually land with this starship. I'm not going to play this video. But the concept is really interesting. SpaceX is on the leading edge. They're building all these different rockets like the Falcon 9 that were able to actually, reuse the rocket. We're able to land the rocket back on to a floating target or on lands. And so this idea of reusability with the rockets will lead to a dramatic reduction of cost. So I just wanted to share this information with you and talk to you about, this concept. One day we could create a lunar colony, and out of that we could travel to the stars, travel to our, local neighbors like Mars, possibly Venus, and explore. And this will create so much wealth, so much technological development too. We're going to have so many challenges we're going to have to overcome. We're going to have to create new materials to do all this. We're going to have to create new abilities to construct things in outer space, such as 3D printing. And another thing is we can beam solar power from outer space where the sun is always shining. We could set up a geosynchronous orbiting satellite that would be kilometers in size, and it could beam power using microwaves down to Earth, and we could have a nearly unlimited supply of electricity. And with the rare earth metals that you mine from the asteroids, you can create the necessary things for high technology, such as batteries, cars. And in the long run, by moving our industry off of Earth, we don't have any pollution. So we can eliminate the pollution of this high-tech industrial society that we all live in. I also wanted to point out this book that I've been reading. It's Mining the Sky, and the author is John S. Lewis. Now, this book, I think it was made in like the late 1999, somewhere around there. Yeah, 1998. So there's a lot of this is kind of behind the times a little bit. Like there was no Elon Musk, there was no SpaceX, and he talks conceptually about different things that we could do. And a lot of what he talked about has come to fruition. Like he was describing the reusing of rockets. If we could reuse rockets rather than throw away the boosters, we could save thousands of dollars, per mission, and we could radically lower the cost of sending things into outer space, which SpaceX has actually done. So, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And please check out Adamcast IRL. Please check out Liftport. And I'll put on the description all of the different articles that I read to you and talked about today. Thank you very much.